So Israel's allies are lining up to support them. But what about Iran's allies? Who can they count on? The Iranians. Well, Iran does not have allies like Israel, but it does have close partners like Russia and China. Tonight, we'll focus on Russia. What is at stake for them in this war? What role are the Russians playing? And what do they stand to lose? When the war started, Russia was quick to condemn it. They called Israeli strikes on Iran illegal. Days later, President Putin also offered to mediate, but Moscow says Israel is not interested.
You know, the Russian side, and President Putin in particular, said that Russia would be ready to provide such mediation services if necessary. At the moment, we see an unwillingness, at least from the side of Israel, to turn to any mediation services and generally enter a peaceful settlement path.
Mediation would boost Putin's credentials. I'm sure Iran will be open to it, but Israel is unlikely to agree. After all, they hold the military edge and momentum. So as things stand, Russia has no role to play. They are not sending weapons to Iran, they are not mediating, and they are certainly not joining the operations. Which brings us to the next question. What is at stake for Russia? Simply put, his closest partnership in West Asia. Putin has invested a lot in this Iranian regime. Both of them face Western sanctions, and that is the key unifying factor. It's not trade, it's not oil or gas, it is strategy. And we saw that in Syria as well. When the civil war broke out, the Assad regime was collapsing. At first, Iran supported and propped up Assad. And in 2015, Russia joined in. Together, they kept the Syrian regime afloat. Of course, now Assad is gone. But it's an example of their strategic cooperation. In fact, at one point, Russia was using Iranian bases to bomb Syria. That's how close they are. And the plan is to expand it even further. Earlier this year, Russia and Iran signed a strategic agreement, a 20-year military partnership. It talks about trading weapons, holding joint drills, and developing advanced technologies. But it doesn't mention mutual defense, meaning Russia is not obligated to protect Iran, though they can send weapons. Iran has done it since 2022. Reports say they have supplied 3,000 drones to Russia. And Russia used these drones against Ukraine. Now the question is, will Putin return the favor? Iran already uses Russian weapons, including the S-300 and the MiG fighter jet. But Iran would like more, perhaps the latest systems, like the S-400 and the Su-57 jets. But right now, Putin seems to be in no mood to share. He is tied up in Ukraine and he cannot spare any firepower. Again, we saw this play out in Syria. When the rebels advanced, Putin could have stepped in. His air force could have pushed them back, but he chose not to go there. And we all know what happened next. The regime of Bashar al-Assad was toppled. Will President Putin do things differently in Iran? As things stand, there are no indications that he will. But again, this is Putin we are talking about. He's known to throw curveballs. So let's look at what could influence his choices. What would Putin be looking at? Factor number one, ties with the Gulf Arab states. Russia is part of the OPEC plus oil cartel. They work with Arab Gulf states to regulate the energy market, and those states are vulnerable here. If Iran goes berserk, Arab assets will be on their target, which is bad news for Putin. He spent time cultivating those ties. So that's one factor, the Gulf states. Factor number two, the battle situation in Ukraine. This is a crucial year for Putin's invasion. Trump is pushing both sides to come to the table. Moscow is hoping to maximize gains before that happens. In that context, this war is a distraction. We saw that on Tuesday. Russia launched a massive aerial attack on Kiev. Take a look at this. Finally, the third factor, the appetite for diplomacy. We haven't seen it yet. But if this war drags on, there could be a clamor for talks, and Iran will want someone trustworthy, not the Americans or the Europeans, probably the Russians. This is what happened during the nuclear talks. The 2015 deal had 6 guarantors, the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran. It had 6 guarantors: the United States, France, Britain, Germany, China, and Russia. And Tehran will be happy to see Putin at the table. The problem is, we are a long way from that. Israel is intent on settling this on the battlefield. Unless that changes, Russia can only watch from the sidelines.
First post now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
$4 trilhão euro.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. First post.